Business Sidekick.
Hello to you all and welcome to Business Sidekick, a podcast dedicated to growing your online business. I'm Justyna, live chat content writer and marketer. If you have listened to previous episodes, you already know how to do market research, how to design an amazing website, how to drive traffic to this website, and you know the basics of selling. So it's time to discuss customer service and customer experience. My today's guest is Adam Toporek, the author of Be Your Customer's Hero, founder of the Customers That Stick blog, and a customer service expert. Enjoy!
Business Sidekick.
Hi Adam, thanks for being here.
Hey Justyna, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I was thinking that everyone is talking about extraordinary customer service, but I was wondering, what does it exactly mean? Because, you know, it's like 2016 and amazing customer service is kind of a benchmark for all industries. So can you tell me what nowadays extraordinary customer service mean?
Well, absolutely. We actually use a term at our CTS Service Solutions called hero class customer service because, as you know, we have the book Be Your Customer's Hero. And for us, we take a little bit of a different approach because there's three things you need for hero class customer service. And the first is to meet and whenever possible exceed expectations. The second is provide hassle-free, frictionless experiences. And the third one is to do number one and two consistently. You see, we see all these things about viral stories and these big stories about these amazing acts of service. But those usually aren't scalable. Those are usually one-time things. And what true extraordinary or 5-star or 5-diamond or hero-class customer service really is about is delivering exceptional customer service, meeting or exceeding those expectations, and doing that consistently.
Mm-hmm. And can you give an example of such customer service?
Oh, absolutely. There's examples all over the place. Let's take the Ritz-Carlton, and that's obviously a pretty easy example, but they're known as a great customer experience company. And what they do is when you pay up, it's a premium hotel, obviously. It's a high-end hotel. But when you go to Ritz-Carlton, you know what you're going to get. You get a customer-centric culture that revolves around you as the customer. And they have such great systems and processes and training, and those three things are incredibly important, that they deliver consistent customer experiences. Now, it doesn't mean they never make a mistake. It doesn't mean they never get it wrong. But what they do is they are trained to make it right. So even when they do get it wrong, even when there is a glitch, or perhaps they didn't do anything wrong, but the customer's expectations didn't match what they provided, they're trained and they're empowered to handle those situations and to turn the service issue around.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good example. Okay, so once we know what the awesome customer service is, can you tell why it is so important?
Yeah, there's so many statistics on customer service, and you can just Google customer service retention statistics and you'll find a few. But the reality is, the better your customer service, the more you're going to retain your customers. And not only are you going to retain them longer, the better your customer service is, the better your customer experience is, the more money they will spend with you. Also, the better your customer experience, better your customer service, the better it is for your staff and your team. It creates a more positive environment, and you have better retention and better with your internal customers.
Mm-hmm. And I have the impression that many people think that customer service starts at the moment when you hire your first agent or representative. So I think that they don't understand that you're providing customer service from the very moment when you reply to your first email or answer a call, right?
Oh, absolutely. If you haven't hired anybody and you're a solopreneur, as they call them, and there are a lot of people using that business model now, even at that model, you are in customer service. If you are dealing with a customer in any way, shape, or form, you are in customer service and you have to be focused on customer experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's imagine that you're talking to a solopreneur and he has just started selling his products and he's getting first inquiries from their customers and have no idea how to deliver the awesome customer service. What would be your advice?
Oh, wow. Well, we could probably talk all day. How long do we have?
A couple more minutes.
Well, first, and I really not doing this as a shameless plug, but my book, Be Your Customer's Hero, is for frontline. So I would advise that book or get other books, educate yourself. But here are some places you can start. One is you really need to sit down and look at your entire journey. Create a journey map. It doesn't have to be anything complicated, but map out your journey and understand what your customers are experiencing. So when you look at customer experience, that is the sum of all the interactions the customer has with your organization. And if you're just starting out and are new to customer experience and customer service, understand that that doesn't just mean when you talk to them or when they make a purchase. That means when they see your marketing materials. That means when they see you on social media. That means when they're referred by a friend. Every time they come into contact with your brand is part of the experience, all the way through their last transaction. So one thing to do is to map that process out and understand that journey. Then look at each touch point. So look at when they're shopping on your website. Look at when they're transacting and purchasing. Look at when there's a service issue, what type of response time, what's the team, what type of what type of process do you have for issue resolution. Look at all the major touch points and start saying, well, how can we do this better?
Mm-hmm. I love this approach because it means that customer service is not about, responding on social media or via email, but customer service starts from the moment when the website visitor enters your website.
Absolutely. And then every moment after that is part of that customer experience.
And do you have any advice on contacting customers directly? For example, any email best practices or phone call or chat?
Absolutely. And the first is to try to be as hassle-free and effortless as possible. Always be thinking about how you can make whatever the communication medium is, how you can make it easier on customers. And one of the ways to do that is to respect the medium they've chosen, which means if they came to you over Twitter, then you should respond on Twitter. If they came to you by email, you should respond on email. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't try to move them to another channel that's more appropriate. For instance, if they contacted you on Twitter, but it's a very complicated issue, you're obviously going to want to move that to phone or email or, of course, chat. Chat's very powerful. So whatever you can do, try to find the appropriate channel, but always respect the channel they came in on because that's the channel they have chosen.
Yeah, that's very important because a couple of years ago, the companies weren't responding on social media. Can you imagine?
Right, absolutely. And there's a great book on that by Jay Baer called Hug Your Haters. So for people that are just starting with customer service and customer experience, that is an incredible book on social customer service.
Okay, and how about responding to emails?
Yeah, the first thing is reply, of course. And, it can be challenging sometimes, especially if you're a solopreneur or just have one person or in your organization. That can be very challenging. So responding is big. And what I found in recent years, or really in the last half year, you've got to check your spam filter. It is, the spam filters have gotten really bad. I've had a lot, even in my own business, a lot of missed communication, both in and out through the spam filter. So believe it or not, I think that's actually becoming an important part of customer experience and customer service via email. The next thing is understand the common issues. As you're developing your business and it's getting bigger and you've had more transactions and you've had more service issues, understand what are your top 3 issues? What are your top 7, 10? And get, and I'm going to be careful with this word, canned responses. Now, canned doesn't mean you send a canned response, but you have scripts you can use. Once you get some good language, use that language, have responses at the ready, but just always make sure you don't just cut and paste. You cut and paste and then you customize and make sure you are answering the specific question and the customer's specific needs. But it can be a great time saver and can help you not reinvent the wheel every time, to at least have the basic bones of these common responses at the ready.
Mm-hmm. And a good way also is to provide a self-help, for example, by creating sorry, it sounds really improper. Frequently.
Thank you.
Yeah, frequently asked questions section or knowledge base, because it's also a part of customer service, right?
Oh, absolutely. Anything you can look at it this way. One of the biggest things we teach is customer effort and removing the hassle factor. And the reality is there is a huge percentage of your customer base that wants to just solve it themselves as quickly as possible, especially for a non-complicated issue. So the more you can do on your website and through resources such as an FAQ, video, anything you can do to answer those questions. One, it's a win-win. It enables the customer to solve it faster and easier without having to talk to somebody, and it, of course, is more profitable for you. Mm-hmm. If you have an FAQ is just there once you do it and you update it once in a while, but it's just there. It's not staff time. It's not a call. It's not an email.
Yeah, FAQ, this is how I should spell it. Okay, thanks. Okay, the last question. I have impression that many entrepreneurs are afraid of accepting customer requests if they're from out of the process. Do you know what I mean? That sometimes just they don't want to agree on what customer requested.
I think that's always a challenge in customer service, but my general philosophy is you should try to give as much as you can. And don't worry about that you're going to have to set a line. I think the slippery slope is a bad way to look at it, because look at it this way. If somebody asks you for something and you say, well, this is what we offer, this is all we offer, we're drawing the line here. As opposed to, okay, it was a small thing, you could have given it to them, you could have made them happy, but you're worried they're going to come back for more. Well, then all you were going to do later is draw another line. You're still drawing a line. You're still going to have to, basically step up and push back to the customer, which you never want to do if you can avoid it, but is reality. Sometimes you do have to draw lines, and you do have to, you can't offer everything. So my point is, you need to be strategic about how you do it and what really matters. If you've ever had your drink messed up at Starbucks, what do? You say, hey, this is wrong. They don't question you. They don't push back. They immediately make you another drink and hand it to you. They don't blink. Why? Because they know, and I've seen different numbers, but the customer lifetime value of the average customer at Starbucks, at least in US dollars, is somewhere like $12,000 to $14,000. Why are they going to make you mad over a cup of coffee that costs them 50 cents? Mm-hmm. And that's the way you should look at it. You should understand the value of that customer, and are you really going to tick somebody off? Are you going to make a $5 problem into a $500 or $5,000 problem?
Exactly. Okay, so give as much as you can as the final quote. I love it. Thank you very much for this interview.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
Oh yes, it was fun. However, I do hope that you will quickly forget about my small FAQ faux pas. Especially that Adam has prepared a small gift for all of you, a free PDF, 10 power words you absolutely must use, which can be a handy cheat sheet for all those who work with customers. You can find the link in this episode's description on Business Sidekick website, livechatinc.com/podcast. Also, remember that you can find this podcast on iTunes, so don't forget to show me some love and rate it. Thanks a lot for listening. All the best.
This podcast was brought to you by LiveChat.